Welcome to the analysis of inheritance, a play by David Mulwa. Inheritance is a play that addresses the issue of bad leadership. Countries that are led by dictators often experience many problems that affect the well-being of their citizens. As a result, leaders in such countries later end up regretting their deeds when the citizens turn against them, demanding for their rights. In the play Inheritance, Lacuna Caso is an epitome of such leaders whose ending is embarrassing and full of regrets. I'm going to look at issues raised in this play and how leader Lacuna Caso approaches them. First of all, we have an issue of embezzlement of funds. Lacuna borrows money in the name of his subjects, but does not use it to benefit them, but rather his friends and himself. He stashes the borrowed money in foreign accounts, such as in Manhattan, Luxembourg, in Swiss banks, as well as some banks in Canada. He also demands 30% kickbacks from his ministers for them to keep their jobs. Mama Tamina says that people labor and their sweat pours into Lacuna's porous pockets. As well, when Lacuna is unable to account for how the loans advanced to Kutula were used, he loses respect of his financiers, that's Robert and Goldstein. When Robert now calls him Lacuna instead of Leader Lacuna. They also withhold Lacuna's money in foreign accounts, reducing him to a pauper. Though he arrests the two, that's Goldstein and Robert, they are later released by Princess Angoi's government. The second issue is issue of brutality. Lacuna is ruthless when it comes to stamping out in opposition. He plans to assassinate Bengo, and when Judah refuses to carry out the order to kill him, he's beaten up and his mangled body thrown at his doorstep. Judah is later mysteriously killed at Castle Mines when he opposes Lacuna's wish to marry his daughter Lulu. Those who oppose Lacuna are said to disappear without trace. Princess Angoi pleads with Tamina to let Lulu attend the traditional ceremony, for Lacuna does not take a no for an answer. She warns her that if it doesn't happen, then hers will be a marked home. He threatens to teach Robert a lesson for poking his nose into how he runs his government as well. In the end, the citizens of Kutula, led by Bengo and Princess Sangoi, hold a peaceful demonstration that leads to ouster of Lacuna as the leader, and Princess Sangoi handed the mantle as the people's choice. Later, we see Lacuna being arrested. The third issue is the issue of exploitation. Tamina sells her farm to Chipande for peanuts, and now she has to pick coffee on the same farm from sunrise to sunset for a meager pay. When the financiers deny Lacuna an access to his money in foreign accounts, he orders 100% taxation on any business showing an inkling of profit. In the end, Lacuna is deposed by angry citizens who accuse him of mismanaging the economy of Kutula Republic. He appears helpless before the very people he had been exploiting, and it takes the intervention of Sangoi to protect him from the citizens seeking vengeance. The fourth issue is the issue of impoverishment. Judah cannot get another job after he is sacked by Lacuna's regime. He's thrown out of his government house, his car seized, and his party membership revoked. He wanders from one town to another in search of elusive jobs with hordes of young people. He is jobless, but he has to make ends meet. His touched heart back home portrays abject poverty. Lulu has been sent home for lack of school fees, and her mother, that is Tamina, is unable to raise money for the levies. There are graduates in Kutula who are unemployed. Later, the citizens decide to rebel against this despotic leadership and out Lacuna in a bloodless coup. He is reminded of the suffering he has caused to citizens of Kutula, including Mama Tamina. And to show the bitterness, Mama Tamina slaps him at the end of it all. There is an issue of sexual immorality as well. In a desperate attempt to cling to power, Lacuna intends to use Lulu for a traditional ceremony. He plans to have an affair with Lulu, which is against the advice of a traditional advisor, Malipoa. He claims that his position actually allows him to flout the traditions. He treats this as a national emergency. Lacuna is angered by Lulu's closeness to Robert and demands an explanation for that. He detains Lulu in his palace and intends to marry her, actually against her wishes. Lacuna is also said to have a bevy of concubines that he pampers at the expense of the citizens of Kutula Republic. The end result is that Lulu declines Lacuna's plea despite his powers, fame, and promises. He accuses him for killing her father and reiterates her ambition to become a doctor, for she had promised her father so. The sixth issue is the issue of killings. As a leader, Lacuna has no sense of remorse for having poisoned his own father, King Kutula XV, to death in order to become the leader of Kutula. Lacuna kills Judas and Melo. Lulu says this to affirm, or rather to confirm, the killing of her father, and she says, "You who killed my father, let me go." He also authorizes killing of deserters and dissidents from his army. He instructs his army to shoot demonstrators. However, the demonstrators adopt peaceful means to avoid bloodshed that eventually leads to his peaceful ouster, for his army declines to use violence to disperse the demonstrators. Princess Sangoi says, "Let it never be said that our new world was built on the madness of the old." The seventh and my last issue is the issue of favoritism. In order to ensure that the entire army is loyal to him, Lacuna orders that soldiers who are not from his clan be sacked and be replaced by those from his clan regardless of their qualifications. This after he learns that some soldiers were deserting his army and joining protesters. The manager at Castle Mines is said to be Lacuna's tribesman. Tamina says that Lacuna only cares about his lax tribesmen and bevy of concubines. These tribesmen fail to tell him the truth about the citizens' feelings about his leadership and desert him at hour of need when demonstrators approach his palace. They cannot offer him protection anymore. The eighth point, there is misuse or misappropriation of funds. There is misuse of funds borrowed by Lacuna. When pressed by Robert and Goldstein to account for money loaned to his country, Lacuna claims to have used part of it to purchase an aircraft. He says that he could not move around in an insect of a car when his brothers roar across the sky. Goldstein accuses Lacuna for wasting loans advanced to Kutula for development through subsidization. That Lacuna had to give his lazy citizens practically everything free, including infrastructure, transport network, education, and health services. The whole public sector is a waste. Lacuna's extravagance also shows how the money borrowed in the name of citizens of Kutula avail nothing to them. The lavish banquet held at Lacuna's palace portrays misplaced priorities. The rivers of wines and whiskies and canned beer from Robert's subsidiary companies, array of the most delectable dishes, all imported from London, are a waste of resources when the citizens cannot afford decent shelter, pay school fees for their children, and unable to easily access basic needs like water. This wastefulness angers citizens of Kutula Republic, who unite and oust Lacuna Kasu. I can conclude by saying that tyrannical leaders tend to think that they are indispensable because of powers bestowed upon them by the people, rather the citizens. However, with time, they come to realize that the ultimate power rests with the citizens. This has been proven by Lacuna Kaso in the play Inheritance.